Jupiter aspects to Uranus. And this is one of my placement, which is Jupiter trine Uranus. This is my gift. This is naturally a part of me. Now, Jupiter is a planet that's of expansion. It's wisdom. It's your divinity, or to some religion. And this is all about your faith, all about your strength, all about how confident you are and how cheery you are. But it's expansion. It expands whatever it touches. So when it's into Uranus, it will expand your consciousness because Uranus deal with the higher mind. Expand your higher mind, your higher intellect, your higher thoughts. It would expand your communication, make you communicate more. And it would expand your uniqueness because Uranus deals with uniqueness. It would expand your personality to rebel. Makes you more rebellious. But since Jupiter there, you rebel in a positive way. But it could be nasty because Jupiter can go to the extreme. So it make you can go to the extreme rebellion. So whatever you believe in, you stick to it. Because you can be very rebellious against that. Because freedom is very important to you. Anything that trap you down, you will cut off. Because you don't believe in following the traditions or the ways of another individual, in another soul or individual. Because you are unique yourself. You love who you are. You love your uniqueness. And Jupiter give you the confidence in your uniqueness and give you the spark in who you are. And you're very creative because Uranus is an intuitive genius planet. And so you add Jupiter there, it will expand your intuitive genius and have you doing things your own way. Create your own trends, come up with new inventions. And Jupiter give you the fire energy to carry it out and put it into action with confidence, with strength, and make it more popular being different. So if you act like somebody else, it won't work. And I know this for myself. When I act like somebody else, it never works. But when you act like yourself and come up with your own thoughts, your own ideas, and don't follow everybody else's path, this is when you will win. So if you got Jupiter conjunction Uranus, Jupiter blend in with your Uranus trait. So this is very strong aspects. And so this is a part of you. So we're talking about being unique, being different, and plus you like people who are different. And this deal with humanitarian issues, but you think on a global scale about humanitarian issues, and you like to find the flaws in systems that don't work, and bringing change to that, and bringing new ways of helping people, new ways of healing, a new system that will help people. So you'll fight against anything that don't work, or anything where there's no freedom. You'll fight against that. You're very rebellious against that. So that's why like you give lessons and philosophy and you speak about this. And so you make a great speaker against things that don't work, a system that don't work, because you all about self-help. You want to help humanity. And so you are that unique being who can accept everybody for being themselves. And you like when people be themselves. So you know when people are not themselves. So you the type who don't follow the crowd. But at the same time, you could be in the crowd. But you're going to entertain the crowd. Because Jupiter going to make you very excited, very fun with your own style, your own flavor, your own uniqueness. And you love to be different. You don't like to be the same. I know myself because this is me too. And so also you got this creative genius gift to create your reality, to create your environment. And plus, you're very creative, very skilled. You might could draw. You might can have a creative mind. You put graphics and colors together, color coordinating, and things like that. And Jupiter will expand your ability to be creative. It will expand your ability and your uniqueness. You have your own style. You don't want to do the same building like somebody else, because you always think, oh, I got a better idea. I got a good idea. And you want to do it your way. You know what I mean? You don't want to do it their way. Like, you can see something like a building and draw it, but you're going to add your own uniqueness to it because you're going to make it look different, but you're going to make it look good with style. So that's the ability that you have. And you have the ability to help those to come up with new philosophy systems, bringing new philosophy to the world that people never thought of. Because you got a scientific mind where you dissecting the code things and break things down. You deal with the intellect. So you're super smart, super intelligent, and super intuitive, highly intuitive, claircognizance and clairvoyance. You got the ability to see the big picture, and since Uranus deal with all of a sudden energy, you get downloads of information out of nowhere, any time of the day. All of a sudden, surprises, and plus you like to surprise people, and even if you don't like to surprise people, your presence going to surprise people, which means that by you being unique, people gonna like your style. People gonna like who you be. Then we watching you because you're so different and you're so unique. You're gonna surprise people with the words you say when you come up with new stuff or how you think. You know what I mean? So you just deal with surprises, and all of a sudden, turn a wealth, which means you can fall financially, or you might come into some wealth. So it's all of a sudden things happen in your life and events. All of a sudden, fortune, because it's Jupiter's fortune. All of a sudden, luck. You were down and out, and all of a sudden, money came your way. So that what this energy deals with, and this will happen all throughout your life. And so this is Jupiter conjunction Uranus. This makes you the best teacher. I mean, good at dissecting the coding things. So scientific work, being a surgeon, a doctor, a nurse. Because Jupiter itself like freedom and like to not be attached to stuff. And so is Uranus. Uranus don't like to be attached to stuff. So you are super freedom oriented, which means that you like to be around people, then you don't. You don't want nobody to be so attached to you because you don't want to be smothered like that. So that's why you always preach. You don't want to be so attached to people and places and things naturally, because you know that when people get attached to you, they depend on you. You don't want to hurt nobody's feelings, so you understand the psychology more than anyone. So not only is you intuitive, you have the wisdom of life. You experience things that's odd and weird and unknown, and you like things that's odd, weird, and unknowns. While people watching BT or raps or watching the normal reality shows, you over there watching aliens and UFOs and things about psychic abilities and gifts like that, because you like things that's different. You don't want to be the same, and things that different interest you anyway. It excites you, things that's different and unique. You don't want to be the same because you get bored with the same old. You don't like to be bored, period. Not only Jupiter don't like to be bored, Uranus don't need her. So this amplify that energy. And so it makes you the best at research, the best at study, the best at whatever you do, because you got that energy where you overthink. You overthink so much, you need to sit down or lay down and channel that energy and meditate. Meditation is very helpful to you, because you could be one of the best spiritual gurus. But the thing is, people would never be so close to you or so attached to you, because you don't want to be in the same people's life all the time. You don't want to be attached to people like that all the time. Even when you're teaching spirituality courses, you only want to be temporary and go to the next person, because you want to meet people and different people, but you don't want to stay in their life forever unless they're your mate or they're your family. Other than that, as a teacher, you don't want to be in people's life all the time, but you still would admire them from a distance because you want your freedom. Freedom is very important to you. You'll fight for your freedom. You'll fight for other people's freedom. And anybody who oppressed, or could be emotionally oppressed by others, like if somebody attacks somebody and beat them down, and you see that people going through it emotionally, you will help those who are oppressed emotionally. You help those who are oppressed mentally. Freedom is very important in all forms of life to you. You're there to fight for these people, or definitely to fight for yourself, because Jupiter gives you the ability to carry it out in an action way, not just mentally like Uranus. And Uranus like the idea of being different, and it's in the mind and through speech. But Jupiter will help you carry it out. It's an action fiery planet where they put it into action. So when talking about you will defend the weak. Yeah, because Jupiter got the big complex. Like, nobody ain't gonna touch you. I'm here. You know what I mean? So, and you got unique ideas and unique thoughts. Because Jupiter is like the champion of people. So the way you champion people gonna be different. You're not gonna be like like the average strong person. You can be a different type of strong person who operate differently. I got to give you an example when I say strong person. Like those who are, I'm gonna say physically strong, like fighters. Like say I got to use like Bruce Lee. Like you strong like that, good in martial arts, skilled, and you just so good, and nobody can defeat you. Like Bruce Lee, you can be somebody different. Like you can be somebody like Bruce Lee in a way, but you can be different, and you might even be even better because you have a intuitive genius mind. And so let me just say that. That's what I mean by that. I'm just give you an example. So different is part of who you are. Being different, being unique, fun loving. You like excitement, you like joy, and anything that interests you. You like people to get along. Accept this because Uranus need balance, and so do Jupiter. Jupiter need balance, and so when you got Jupiter conjunction to Uranus, this is you. This is you. The one who don't like to be bored, like to be fun, like action, like excitement. And if you don't have that, you're gonna leave that environment, and you're not gonna be in that environment too long. I mean, you're very friendly, very talkative, very cheerful, people person, or you people person, but you also the type who don't want to be around people at times because you like to do your own thing, or you like to stay a short period of time around people and go to the next person like that. So you definitely an extrovert, but you also can be an introvert. So you're more like an ambivert, but it's according to you and your thinking. So with it being said, this place right here, those who got a brilliant mind, you can't challenge them. They like to rebel against other people's thoughts and their ideas just to come up with a solution that's better. You know what I mean? That they like to rebel, and they like anything like mental challenges with the mind. You got to prove to these people what you're saying. If you don't prove to these people what you're saying, you might well don't mess with a Jupiter conjunction Uranus people, or Jupiter aspects Uranus people, period. Because you got to prove to these people. If you don't, I mean, they gonna prove. They're gonna show you how you lost, and they're gonna give you that wisdom. Because this is a placement of wisdom and intuitive geniusness, and also those who highly intuitive, claircognizance, clairvoyance, but also those who fun action, those who love people, but those who rebellious. They got a rebellious nature, but do it on a big scale. Because you would make them do it on a big scale and a universal scale. And so when they speak big on the universal scale. You know what I mean? They speak about not just one person. It speaks about some of everybody. So, because these are the type of people might say something, and you might think they're talking about you, but they might say, I ain't talking about you. I'm talking about as in general, as a whole. I'm talking about some of everybody. So you might think they're talking about you strictly. You might be the one they talk about, but it ain't you. It ain't just you, cause they think about everybody who do the same thing that you do. Like whatever you done. They didn't know that everybody done the same. A lot of people done the same thing, so they gonna think about everybody who done the same thing you done. That's why they always say, I ain't talking about you. I'm talking about in general as a whole, and they're not talking about you. A little bit they are, but in general they're talking about everybody because you're included in that everybody. So yes, it will be you, but it's not strictly you, if you know what I'm saying. And so when you got Jupiter conjunction to Uranus people, these are your best lawyers, best debaters, philosophers, book writers, scientific minds, intuitive geniuses, very creative, got creative powers, come up with trendsetters, come up with advanced technology, advanced science. So they're very advanced thinking, and they don't like people who are slow-minded and those who are dumbfounded. So these people can be very critical to those who are slower than them and dumber, or they feel dumber than them. And that's what you got to watch out for with this placement. Those who have this placement, because I had to do that. I had to stop criticizing people who I felt lesser than me. So that's what this placement represents. So with it being said, now this is just a conjunction. And so this is why you should listen to everything, because how it play out for the rest of the aspects. When you got Jupiter trine Uranus, which is my placement, this is my gift. This is naturally a part of me. This is naturally what I do. Everything that I spoke about, the Jupiter conjunction Uranus, all the traits that I spoke of, this is naturally a part of me and what I do. And that's why I'm super smart. I bring my new way of thinking to life. And I like being different. I like being unique. And I like people who are different and unique. I like people who are different and unique. And I can relate to everybody and anybody. I'm a people person. And I love to be around people, but I also like to be to myself. I need my own alone time to think and also to contemplate and to meditate and everything else. So those who have Jupiter trine Uranus like me, this is your gift. It's so easy to you that you can get that this your gift. Like, the reason why I ain't forget because I got so much in my chart that's on this level that I can't forget that this is my gift. But you can forget that this is a part of you. And you might don't be that intuitive genius or very smart and everything else because you might forget. You might forget that this is a part of you. And now you on a dumbfound level and you ain't being who you're supposed to be because you're not using your gift to be a philosopher or to be have a scientific mind or be an intuitive genius or to help people, to bring good wisdom to people, be that counselor and that guide for people, you know what I mean, things like that. And so that's why this is important. You got to use your gift, use your trine. Now, how it plays out through how Jupiter play out through the sextile, which means Jupiter sextile Uranus. This is your potential. You got the energy is there. You just got to activate the energy. Activate it. You know this is a part of you, but once you activate it, because you always was interested in being unique and different and Uranus things, and the reason why you didn't expand because you didn't activate it. And then when you do activate it, you see that this is easy a part of you because it's an easy aspect. It is not easy as a trine where it's my natural gift. It's my natural gift. Sextile, you got to activate it, and once you do. And you master this placement, you become just like Jupiter conjunction Uranus or Jupiter trine Uranus. You'll be the same thing. That's how it play out with you. You just got to activate it. Now, Jupiter square Uranus. Wow. This is the negative side of this placement when you talk about squares and oppositions. If you got Jupiter square Uranus, it means that you fight against being different. You fight against some of the Uranus things like being rebellious towards others. You might be so kind and so nice that people take advantage of you and stuff like that. And you fight against people being different. You might fit in with the crowd. You know what I mean? So you gonna go through it. This the aspect where you would go through it, dealing with wisdom, with dealing with the mind, with dealing with communication, with dealing with creativity. Where you might have low self-esteem, don't want to put your work out there, or you might feel that you ain't the best speaker, or you ain't so smart and things like that. And you might don't want to go on trips to experience life and gain wisdom from it, or you might don't want to be accepted as other people, cultures, and people itself. So that what this deal with. It's about what you go through, or it can play out where you could overly be into wisdom and think you're smarter than everybody in the world and crash. Or think you don't need no more wisdom. Or you can be too talkative, so talkative that you run people because you're speaking negative. You can speak very negative towards people and very critical towards people. Have a sharp tongue. You might want to fight people. You might want to pick fights and start stuff just because this is fun to you. Stuff like that. And also this is a placement that can be very rebellious against authority. You might just do it for the heck of it. Or you might don't like this person, like that person for nothing and don't know why. Out of nowhere, you don't like them. Out of nowhere, this happened. Out of nowhere, this type of placement this is when you got Jupiter square Uranus. And you might don't like when people be different than you or act like they're different or act weird. And you might want to follow the trends or something like that. So that this placement is about. And if you do act different, you might act too conceited or stuck up where people don't want to follow you or be around you. Or you might be separated from the masses and want to separate yourself from people. Because you know you're different and you feel like you're so smart that nobody can reach your level, that you want to be separated from people, that you figure that everybody dumb around you. So this could be that placement, see what I'm saying? Or all you can do is spit wisdom or be too self-righteous, or it can be too superficial. So it can play out many ways. But it is a square, which means you will have a hard time and struggle with this placement until you get it right. And once you master it and go through everything you go through, with the being unique and being and with Jupiter energy, which is Jupiter square Uranus or Uranus energy. Once you master it, you'll be just like the Jupiter conjunction Uranus or trine a sextile on a positive level. You have the same skills, same gift, and you be just like that. If you heard what I said about the Jupiter conjunction Uranus placement, then you'll be just that after you master all this lower self energy. But if you don't, you'll crash in this area of life. So it's up to you to make that choice. But this is super powerful because you can be the best teacher because your experience is the best teacher. So those who got squares of oppositions could be the best teachers because they will go through it, have more experience than the conjunction, more like the trine and the sextile, because the conjunction can play out like it's a sextile, a trine, a square opposition, or all four. So it can act like a sextile, act like this is your potential. That's how a conjunction could play out, or a trine like this is your gift and you can avoid it, or you can play it out like it's a square and go through it, an opposition and go through it and have a hard time. You know what I mean? So the conjunction can go through all of them, which means Jupiter conjunction Uranus. And so that's why I say after you master everything, you will be on the upside of Jupiter conjunction Uranus. So when you master your Jupiter square Uranus energy. So now, when Jupiter opposition to Uranus or opposes Uranus, it fight against being different. Jupiter fight against being in the mind and staying in the mind and coming to creative ideas. It fight against anybody who like that too. It fight against people who on a humanitarian level. It could be all about itself. And it could be all about me. I'm big complex, conceited, all that there. You fight against, it can be very superficial and everything else. It can be just like the square. So the Jupiter opposition Uranus could play out just like a square. If you heard everything I said about a square, some of it will be just like that. And so Jupiter opposition Uranus, people will fight against anybody who is rebellious. They might fight against people who are different. People who try to be different. People, because they want everybody to be on the same accord. Or they might fight against people who not for freedom fighting. So it could be very chaotic right here. It could be a lot of chaos with this placement. It could be very explosive. These people unpredictable, and with this placement, very unpredictable. You don't know what they're gonna do when you got Jupiter opposing Uranus or opposition Uranus. They're unpredictable. They're very moody and very snappish and quick tongue, and you don't know what you're gonna get when you're dealing with these people. And that's why these people have to stay grounded and stable and learn how to master this placement, because if you don't, you will crash with this placement. People don't want to be around you. People might harm you, or you might harm somebody, because this placement is very powerful. And so you got to learn to master this placement so you can become the humanitarian, so you can become the helper of the world, so you can also connect with people and vibe with people, so you can use your gifts and your talents and your skills. Because after you master this placement, you have all the gifts and talents, the conjunction, the trine, and the sextile. So you have all of these gifts. You have all these talents. Everything that I spoke about, the conjunction, the trine, the sextile. Because at the sextile master its placement, it'd be just like the conjunction and trine placement. You have all of this. You be the master of your destiny, the ultimate humanitarian. And so with this being said, as I came to bring you this light, it gets no realer than this. I'll show you.